Rezichiwa. Also, Lord Byron says hello. Hello, Lord Byron. Little, little, little. Little, little, little. Little. What'd that tongue do? Hello, Larry. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the exam that everyone wants to see. And I've discovered something. I was actually watching a stream, I believe the other day, and I remember seeing something very vividly that made a lot of sense to me at the time. And I play on a 1440p monitor, okay? And the reason I do is because I played on 4K, I've done 1440p, I've done 1080p, I've had all this kind of experience in different places. And I found the sweet spot to be, oh, chat is missing. You are right. Wow, I am very chilly, as they say. Wait, why is that the case? You're right. Hold on. There we go. Hey! Welcome to what is known as a RAS stream. You're just not as smart as the other oldies. I'll have you know that you may be right. You may be right, but you don't have to say it so often. Okay, I live in this body. I know. I recognize that. But today we are doing it's not an official one. It's just the one that I saw that like, oh, it kind of made the most sense. Because there's like a lot of them. Ow. Hey. It's good to see you too. But let's see here. We're at the very top. Oh, you know what? Before this, I'm gonna show you. So you saw, Zenless Zone 0 is playable. And I'm like, what's that? And I went to the Hoyoverse like thing for Zenless. Are you crying, Lord Byron? I just fed you. I played with you for 20 minutes. He loves me and I love him. Anyway. Yeah, I was like, oh, what is this? And I was like, ooh. And then I realized, oh, they're probably all under 18 years old again. Only 20 minutes? How dare you? I mean, I only have so much time before I have to start streaming, you know. Oh, this is the one where everyone was like, oh, I want to fuck him. I remember this. Von Lycaon. Victoria Housekeeping Co. Gimme. I think it was Bao that was the one that was like super horny for this guy. And I'm like, yeah, considering that she went crazy for Blade, it makes sense. It makes sense. Not gonna lie. But here's the thing you have to be conscientious of is that in Japan, they will like, for example, she's probably like what, like 13? Because that's how Hoyoverse works. They're like, oh yeah, let's make every character like look like they're 25, but we're gonna say they're 14 to like pick up the lolicons. Hold on. Oh! Jesus fucking Christ. I love when, like, it reminds me of MySpace when, like, you can put, like, music and shit on your browser and stuff, but, like, damn, that's loud. Damn, that's loud. I like the main character guy, white hair, true. Something called Belle or something? I don't know, I forgot. Yeah, Wakayama Shion. Nice. But, yeah, let's see, hold on. I want to see this. Characters. Hold on. Okay. The one that everyone was going feral for, I think, was Ellen? Was it Ellen? I don't know. Is it gonna load? Ah, there we go. Yeah, Ellen. Okay. There, I'm gonna look up on the other monitor, because Ellen Jo age Hoyo. Because I think there was, like, an issue. Hold on. Oh, apparently people are saying she's in high school, and it's like, yep, that sounds about right. Oh man, but like this is not the type of girl that you see in high school, okay? You know, been there, done that. They don't look like this, okay? They wear hoodies. Anywho, yeah, you know, Piper Wheel. You know, you got the entire demographic. You got women that'll beat your head off. You got women that will, I don't know, build your car. I don't fucking know. Public security, PubSec. Interesting. Am I going to play it? No, but I figured I'd check it out, right? Go to the thing where you can choose to see the Karas. He was on the panel thing. Yeah, hold on. Oh. Uh-oh. The white hair guy. Yeah, Von Lycaon. So you don't even know him. Your personal attendant. Ooh. Saucy. He can resolve any matter. The most trusted of attendants. The solid support for any team. Rational and wise. A true gentleman who can't tolerate a single stain. Offer absolute loyalty to the one he decides to follow. Isn't this just like a husband? The other? What do you mean the other? The female one? I think it was like, where was it? NB Damara, is this the one you're talking about? Or Billy Kid? On the fucking panel. Yeah, hold on. Here? Go back? Okay, I went back. I feel like I don't understand what you're asking, so this is just kind of funny. She's cute, you know. He's cool. The Starlight Knights never lose. I'm crying. I don't know exactly. And here's the thing, you're like, the white hair guy, the white guy, the white hair guy, and I'm like, do you want this guy? Do you want that guy? Or do you want that guy? And you're like, no, go back to the panel. You gotta go back to the panel. I spent way too much time on this anyway, but I do have one thing to complain about, and it's this. I hate when fucking YouTube does this. This is the second time they've done it. Also, hi Wubby. I hate that they do this. So normally it should be video. If it's a live stream, you have the chat, and then you have all the recommended videos on the right. I'm going to have to send another fucking email to YouTube to get them to change it back. Because now they want the comments to be here, and it doesn't work. It never does. When you hit open on the fucking description, you have to like click 3 times to get the actual thing to come out. Not only that, but like, it's just so stupid. Anywho, no divorce, Mary, Nene, and Fauna? Huh? You know what? We're going to save that for later. That's going to be a video for... We're going to watch that later after stream, probably. Raz will watch that on his own time. Let me zoom in a bit. But yeah, as I was saying before, one of the cons of having a 1440p monitor when you're streaming is that it downscales everything to 1080p. So in a sense, I'm not able to see everything exactly how other would. Hi, Drogs. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. My Twitlonger is being forwarded to you via electric telegraph machine. I'll just let me know when you send the fax. I'll grab it. Oh, man. That's basically what a fax machine is. It's an electric telegraph machine. Fair enough. Fax had an actual, like, meaning, right? I mean, it stands for facsimile, but... Facsimile... What was facsimile? It just means exact copy. Alright, well, fair enough. Alright, so I think we should stop delaying. Or, well, I should not It's not y'all's fault. It's my fault. I will be your next victim. I look forward to it. So, first and foremost, disclaimer. This isn't a real ADHD exam. This is not a legitimate thing. This is not something that you can use as a substitute for a legitimate diagnosis, prognosis, or anything of the sort. This is just for fun. So, if you want to take it too, I will put it in the chat. Because you're dumb and you... The guy I meet... Well, you could have sent me a link. I'll be real. You could have sent me the link. I would have clicked it. I'll be real. I'll be real. But, yeah, like I said, this is not a real exam. This is kind of just like a... kind of like a screener. Byron. He really wants attention, I think. He's currently like scratching on a piece of plastic. I don't need to take the test. I don't think so. I don't think I need to either, but I think it's fun. Might as well. Right. Byron. Hold on. Let me grab the kid. Maybe he'll make noise for the microphone. That would be amazing. Byron. Oh, okay. I love when he does that, because he'll be like, you know how like there used to be dads where like they would look at their kid and they would just fucking like freeze. Like that's what Byron does. Whenever like I know he's doing something just for the sake of annoying me, I'm just like, I give him like the stare like Byron, and he's like, and then he just runs. I'll probably do it later. Okay. Why? What do you mean, Tabby? We need to get down to business. We need to figure out what's okay, shut up. All right. What's really bad is that no one knows, like in the VOD, that you redeemed the shut up one. So I need to fix that. But okay. Hold I'll drink some water. You know, I'll drink. We're in a library. We have to be quiet. Let me drink some water for you. Almost wrong bite. Almost wrong bite. I tried to be annoying, but that. No ASMR, you. Here. Why? You redeemed. Shut up. Anyway, I think that's long enough for 1,000 points, I think. Completely derails the stream, stops me from actually doing the content I want to do. You arson, you know it. But yeah, like I said, just another time. This is not a substitute for a legitimate diagnosis. This is just fun. I know I probably have ADHD, but I don't care enough to spend $600 to have a paper that says I do, you know. Because psychologists and consultants and stuff are expensive. So yeah, please answer the questions below, rating yourself on each of the criteria shown. As you answer each question, select the button that best describes how you have felt and conducted yourself over the past 6 months. Okay. Ow. No monk. How? Oh. Byron is getting active. Maybe we'll get some blessed Byron voices. You sound gay right now, Raz. You know what? I am very happy. Thank you. How often do you have trouble wrapping up the final details of a project once challenging parts have been done? Ironically, I had this legitimately like with the karaoke, where like you still owe me hydrate. True. I'll drink again. I'm gonna get rid of any possibility of kidney stones at this rate. So like with the karaoke, like the hard part was getting 10 songs, because I knew that if they were 3 minutes each, I would have at minimum 30 minutes, and then I would have time in between to talk, relax, and so on and so forth. So I knew that I had, like, that was a challenging part. So I found the 10 songs that were there, and then technically speaking, that was the challenging part of the project. However, I didn't really want to do the karaoke or actually finish the project until I forced a deadline onto myself. And this is true in real life too. I am not a person that, like, let's say something is due on the 4th of July, so tomorrow, right, for me. But I can get it done today. I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to do it tomorrow. And the reason why is because I'm a deadline and consequence-oriented person. I don't do really anything, to be honest with you, unless there's a deadline I need to hit or a goal or like a consequence. Like if I don't pay my bills, I don't have internet, right? Like I have to do that. So there is an external stimulus forcing me to do it. And because it's an external stimulus, I do it. But like, for example, without those blocks, do I have trouble wrapping up the project? Oh yeah, all the time. All the time. All the time. I definitely am the person that, like, you know, I don't do anything unless like there's a deadline or a consequence. Otherwise, I will push it off, not because I want to. Trust me, like, I would love to get it done today. I would love to get that thing done today rather than doing it tomorrow on the 4th. 100%. But I just don't. And basically, I used to get angry at myself because I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And then I realized, you know what? Instead of trying to change myself because I can't, let me just work with it. So, like, for example, with the karaoke stream, what I did was like, hey, this Friday, it's going to be done. So, because I had that deadline, I was like, okay, it needs to get done. So, that's how I hacked that one. But, yeah, I always have trouble with it. And I don't even know why. Like, there isn't, like, a legitimate reason for me to be like, oh, well, you know, I've already done all the hard parts. This is easy. I should be done. But, still struggle with it. And this has been my entire life. One of the reasons I never really, like, applied myself too heavily in high school and middle school and stuff is because, like, you know, like there wasn't a legitimate reason for me, at least. Even if there was a legitimate one. Because even if it is a legitimate reason for everything else, if it isn't one to me, I don't care. So that's the hard part. How do you make me care about something? 2, how often do you have difficulty getting things in order when you have to do a task that requires organization? Difficulty? Byron. Now he's starting to get mischievous. He's starting to jump on top of stuff and he's trying to knock things over. Not gonna let him. But difficulty? Am I like lagging? I am. What is this? He's got the zoomies. Okay, hold on. Let me. Okay, I just noticed this. I think my phone may be overheating. What the hell? Okay, hold on. We should be fixed now. Who knows? Unless it's like my GPU, like, oh, hey boss, you know what? Running VTube Studio and 1 or 2 other things. Can't do that. Also, I completely forgot to launch Mix It Up. I am a horrible streamer. But you know what? That's one of the reasons why I like streaming, is because I always have a way to improve. But getting things like in order that require organization is actually not that hard for me. In fact, I don't really have too much of an issue. Normally, I mean, I don't know if it's because of the fact that like I've learned these like coping mechanisms, I suppose, to work with myself rather than work against myself. Like whenever I have a difficult task, I always like outline it. So like, for example, if I'm writing a paper for school, right? I think about, okay, I look at the rubric, right? Which is how I'm being graded. And I look at, okay, what do I need to get an A, right? What do I need to get a B? And I can kind of parse like, okay, how much work do I want to put into this? You know, and then I can metagame my grade at the end of the semester. So it's like, okay, do I need to work hard on this one or can I lax a little bit? Then I also go into it like, okay, if the purpose of the paper is to write, you know, 3 pages, Times New Roman 12-point font, double space, whatever, regarding like, I don't know, Machu Picchu, then I just simply think of like, okay, what do I want to talk about? And then I outline it. And then after that, it's done. I have my outline and then I just have to do it. So difficulty getting things in order? Rarely. And the reason I say rarely is there are times where like, if I'm not able to have the time to outline or do these things, like I will have to very quickly, like kind of in a whiteboard in my head, go like, okay, what are the important things that needs to get done now? What are the things that need to be done in order to achieve the end goal? And then I only do those. So obviously if I'm rushed in that regard, I skip stuff. So it can take longer because I don't get time to outline, but it happens. But that's why I put rarely instead of never. 3, how often do you have problems remembering appointments or obligations? Never. So this is one of the things that like, I think it was just because of how I was raised, but like I always have the thing of like, if you're 10 minutes early, you're on time. If you're on time, or if you're on time, you're late. That's kind of the mentality I've had. And also the thing is that it was impressed into me, not just as a kid, but like throughout my entire life, that 99% of life is showing up and remembering to show up. Legitimately. It's actually kind of crazy. And I remember that there was a time where I showed up for something that was pretty important and was important at the time. It still kind of was. But, you know, I got the opportunity because the other person didn't show up. And apparently I found out later the reason why he didn't show up was because he forgot to set an alarm. So he slept through it. I'm like, huh? How do you fuck yourself over that badly? But, you know, that's just how it goes. It is what it is. But obligations, no. I don't. Even whenever I'm extreme, and I mean, even when I'm extremely just like depressed or sad or whatever the case is, I don't forget my obligations because of the fact that, like, let's be real here. You have a duty. If you said you're going to do something, if you said that you're like, oh, I'm Raz, I'm going to be here at this time, you know, you should do that. Also, can you hear Byron playing in the background? Blessed Byron noises. But I think remembering appointments and obligations is a difficult thing. But I also got like I'll beat your ass if you forget. And it's like, noted. And I'm very risk averse, so I don't mess around with it. I was always a very quiet kid anyway, so I never really had an issue with like acting up. And I never wanted to anyway. When you have a task that requires a lot of thought, how often do you avoid or delay getting started? All the time. So I shouldn't say I hate. I don't like putting effort into things that require an incredible amount of thought. I do, but I have to like hack my brain and like, so like for example, like that paper I was talking about earlier, if I'm writing a paper for class, the way I'll write it is such that I have it all outlined and blocked. So what I mean by blocked is like, oh, one part of the block is the outline. The second part of the block is writing it. The third part of the block is editing it. The fourth part of the block is giving a day or two to kind of marinate and sit on it, then come back to it. Because your first draft always sucks. Even if you did a really good job, it always sucks. But whenever I have a thought, like, for example, writing a paper, it takes a lot of thought. It takes a lot of research, a lot of effort. The reason I avoid and delay it is because I don't want to do it. So basically, what that means is that, you know, like if I didn't have my quote unquote coping mechanisms, the way that I would do it is that I would wait until the last minute. I would just wait until, I don't know, let's say the paper's due 2, 3, or like 6 a.m. or 8 a.m. the following day. I will start at like 10 p.m. the night before, because that will give me enough time, 2 or 3 hours to research, hour to kind of piddle around and do nothing, and then 3 or 4 hours to write, maybe an edit here and there, maybe get some citations going, and then submit. But now I have it blocked off because I know that if I don't do it in my way, which is like research here and there, then block it off, kind of sit on it and do, instead of eating the whole cake whole, I take bites of it. I know that if I don't take bites, I'll choke. That's how I put it. But yeah, when I have it, like, how often do I avoid and delay? I don't want to do it. Absolutely, every time. How often do you fidget or squirm with your hands or feet when you have to sit down for a long time? I mean, normally when I'm at my desk, like, I have a pen in my hand, I kind of like flip it around in my hand, kind of as like a fidget toy. But it's more so just to kind of relax. But it's not saying, hey, is the reason for relaxing. It's saying, how often do you fidget or squirm when you have to sit down for a long time? A lot, actually. I don't, like, squirm with my feet or anything. Like, I do tap my, like my feet. Like, right now, I'm, like, tapping my feet right now on the floor. I'm just, like, tap, 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 tap. Just bouncing my leg, basically. And, it feels nice. There's no reason for it. But does it count as fidgeting? Yeah. Does it count as squirming? I guess so, yeah. But normally when I have to sit down, the only times that I'm like flicking a pen. Oh my God, Myron! If you start knocking over shit, I'm gonna have to cut it off. Anyway, he's having fun. Me too, though. But it's normally whenever I'm like sitting in my chair, going like, "Fuck, how do I figure this out? Like, how do I solve this problem?" It's like, Normally, most problems I deal with, like, I've dealt with before, but then there's a few of them that are just like, oh, this is gonna be rough. And I lean back in my chair. I put my left arm, kind of like a right angle on the chair. I cross my leg. I lean back, and I'm like, philosopher's stone, like thinking, just like, how do I unfucky wucky this one? And let me tell you, whenever that's happening, I do fidget for sure. So I'd say often, but like if we're talking about like when I'm at home, like right now, I don't really fidget with my hands very much. But I do tap my leg a lot, so I guess squirming with my feet count, I suppose. How often do you feel overly active and compelled to do things like you were driven by a motor? Often. In fact, it's actually kind of nice because one of the things I was worried about is before I quit coffee, a lot of the things that I was compelled to do was like, I would be like, this is what I would do. I would sit down and I'd be like, okay, I want to, like for stream, for example, I want to fix sound alerts, right? So I'll be like, okay, I'm going to fix sound alerts. So I'll go make a cup of coffee. I'll make it. I'll be like, okay, it's time. I'll come back into my room. I'll sit, drink my coffee, and then I'll get to work. And then like whimsically, I get the caffeine and I also feel really active and compelled to do that thing. But it's not every time, but the coffee is kind of like in lieu of that feeling. But whenever I get that feeling of being overly active and compelled to do things, it's wonderful. And I typically try never to shun it away. I never try to say like, no, this is bad. I always want to give into it. Does it fuck up my sleep schedule sometimes? Oh yeah, every time normally. But the thing is that I would much rather spend that time being driven and compelled to doing something rather than laying in bed trying to stop myself. Like legitimately, it's like, how do you stop a train? You don't jump in front of it, you get out of the way, you know? So instead of jumping in the front of the train and screwing myself over, let's just go with the train, see where it goes. How often do you make careless mistakes when you have to work on a boring Very often. So, I typically don't make stupid and careless mistakes on the vast majority of things. Whether it be something very difficult or something very easy. Typically, the reason I make careless mistakes is because I have to do it very quickly. So sometimes you get lost in the sauce. And I've developed certain methods to catch this. And primarily, I've noticed that, you know, people say, well, just check your work. You know, after you do it, just, you know, immediately go back and edit. No, I can't do that. So the way I do it, and this is how I get around it if you suffer with the same thing, is my brain thinks too fast. I think way too quickly. I think way too much. And sometimes I just think plainly wrong, right? It's just like my brain works sometimes it doesn't. I don't get a choice. I'm a passenger in a sense. But whenever I'm working on something very difficult or something very boring, I have a system that I have to do in order to maintain that level of quality and make up for my faults. So you're noticing a trend here. Every single problem that I'm suffering with, I have some sort of system to not change me, but to accept that, hey, this is how it is, and work around it. So for this one, like careless mistake, the reason I make and the reason why you make careless mistakes is because you're going too fast. Like, for example, have you ever been reading a sentence and you skip a word, for example? That's a careless mistake, right? Like, I don't know if I've done it in this example, although it would be hilarious. But like, sometimes I'll say like, how often you make careless mistakes. Like I'll miss do. And that may change the entire context of the entire paragraph, right? Which could be really important. But the system I do is that whenever I have a difficult or boring project is I have, okay, first and foremost, I have do the project, right? Do the work. Then I make sure I have time to forget about it. So for example, let's say it's due at 5 p.m. end of day, right? I'll start working at it 9 a.m., 8 a.m., whatever the case is. And then I will complete it and I'll forget about it. And then I'll put on my calendar, okay, at 2 p.m., 3, whatever, go back. And then I'll do it again. And I'll keep doing that until I feel comfortable with the project being complete. So in a lot of ways, I'm doing the project multiple times. But basically, the reason why I have that time is because careless mistakes tend to happen when you're most focused, or when you're trying to be most focused, rather. If you're really focused on something, obviously you don't make careless mistakes. But if you're forcing yourself to be very specific and very like lasered, then yeah, you're gonna make careless mistakes because you're so focused on being focused that you forget to, not make mistakes. How often do you have difficulty keeping your attention when you were doing boring or repetitive work? My attention? Ironically, rarely. So like for example, like I'm thinking about like times I've like just spent hours in Excel sheets doing the same thing over and over, even with automation, just like insane, or like PDF files or so on. Like the PDF, like Adobe PDF. Okay, don't mishear me now. Okay, but what is with my tracking? I don't know. I'm just gonna ignore it. I'll fix it later. But when I'm doing boring or repetitive work, the way that I get around it is legitimately, and I mean this legitimately, is I kind of clock out mentally. If it's something that's boring or repetitive, that means that there's a pattern, and all I need to do is do it enough to get the pattern down, and then I can run myself on autopilot. And the way I trained this legitimately was because of World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft, RuneScape for a little bit, Arcade, a bunch of other MMOs. Because 99% of those MMOs is just grinding, doing the same shit over and over. Now, obviously for like work or for school, right, like it's a different kind. but you're still effectively doing the same thing. The content is just different. So all I need to do is like, I'll put like a video up that I can listen to and kind of have 20% of my attention given towards, and then 80% goes towards actually doing the repetitive motion. But how difficult, as I choke on myself, difficulty, like if I were to like not have the music or anything, yeah, I can still do it. I've spent 8 hours plus in like a one PDF file before. Okay, like I have done boring and repetitive work like that before. But did I need to worry about my intention? No, not at all. Weirdly enough. How often do you have difficulty concentrating on what people say to you, even when they are speaking to you directly? Rarely. Well, no, sometimes. 'Cause it used to be bad. Like, well, I shouldn't say it used to be bad, but it's like, if someone is talking to me and they're talking like very slowly and like a very calm and a very deliberate and a very serious manner, what happens is that you start to realize that they sound very monotone and that their speaking meter has been intentionally reduced to make sure that their speech is heard loudly, clearly, and with absolute precision. And by the time that like I realize that they're talking slower and intentionally to be more like clear in their pronunciation and stuff, that's basically when my brain's like, oh God. Because I'm like, homie, you can look, I know you don't talk like this to your wife. I know you like, homie, I know. Please God, hurry up. Because like I'm like, if you're like, normally like I got shit to do. I gotta do things. I need to do things. But if you're talking to me like I'm like a 4-year-old, like obviously I'm gonna be like, ah. But in terms of like normal conversation, like if I'm talking to a group of friends or you guys or whatever, like, do I have difficulty? No. Normally the only thing that happens is like my attention gets directed elsewhere. But do I forget what people say? Typically, not really. Unless like it's something that I determine to be like low value of forgetting. Like if there's something that like is low value of forgetting, I'll do it. But also the problem with that is that like that happens. That's a conscious thing I can do. But there's also a lot of stuff that I want to remember, but I don't. So it's this weird double-bladed sword where like I get to forget stuff that isn't actually important, but my brain also ends up forgetting unintentionally and unconsciously things I do want to remember. Like names, for example. Like I forget, like if I don't talk to you for a year or two, I won't remember your name, but I will know like you. It's you. I know who you are. And they'll be like, oh, I'm what's a weird name? Carl. Yeah, there we go. Carl Weasley. Like I know that guy, and it's like, oh, I'm Carl. Yep, I knew it. It's like I have to open a filing cabinet, but like the middle of folder you pull out doesn't have a label on it. It's basically how it is. But speaking to me directly, not really. Unless it's like the case where like they're intentionally slowing their voice down, and I'm like, How often do you misplace or have difficulty finding things at home? Oh, never. Oh, never. In fact, it's kind of funny because someone can walk up to me and be like, hey, where are your sticky notes? And I'm like, well, it's in the, the filing cabinet, top drawer, right side, right? Like it's right there. It's like, oh, where's the, highlighters? I'm like, oh, first, and that same thing, but on the left side. And it's like, okay. And at home, same thing. Cause I always put my keys in my wallet and basically everything that I use every day, I have in their place, right? I have my towel in the same place. I have my keys in my wallet. I have my hamper, my laundry stuff all in one place so that I know, like, you could blind me, I would know where everything is. And I could tell you where it is, right? And then, the only stuff that I tend to quote unquote like forget and misplace are the stuff that like I put in like storage things that I'm just like, oh, this is kind of like the electronics thing. And I'm like, well, there you go. But besides that, I don't really have difficulty with stuff. So like someone's like, hey, can you find this? Can you find that? I'm like, yeah, okay. And I find it pretty much instantaneously. Very rarely does this happen where I like forget something. But normally it's because like I was doing something and I put my phone down, for example, for a second. I'm like, ah, shit. And then I find it. I'm like, oh, thank God. How often are you distracted by activity or noise around you? Very often. Byron, can you? If you're gonna make noise, you need to come over here and you need to meow. Okay, I see. He's like, no, I don't want to make noise. I don't want to meow. I want to be chaotic. But yeah, I have like sensitive hearing, and I also have like very good hearing. So like I can hear conversations and whispers very far away. So it's actually it's worked out really well when people don't know that about me, and they try to talk, and I'm like, oh, okay. I can hear you. But they don't know that. But am I distracted by activity or noise? Yeah, for sure. Like whenever I'm streaming, for sure it shows up a lot, where I'm just like, you know what? Like if Lord Byron is like playing around and he like hits something, like I'll hear it and I'll recognize it and I'll go, this is difficult. How do I Aries? Can I say Aries? Civ Aries? Oh my god, I'm gonna mess this up. Also, hi, how are you doing? As you can see, I am very distracted by activity or noise around me. Yes? Yes. Okay, cool. I'm good. We are taking an exam. And let me tell you, I'm getting called out. Let me review what I've had. So, how often do you have trouble wrapping up the final details of the project once the challenging parts have been done? Very often. Okay. How often do you have difficulty getting things in order when you have to do a task that requires organization? Ironically, rarely. Also, this is in the past 6 months. So, not all time, but 6 months. How often do you have problems remembering appointments or obligation? I'm an elephant brain with this. I don't forget. I do not forget these. In fact, it's like I have a very specific thing in my head where I'm like, this is where this stuff goes. It's great. And when you have a task that requires a lot of thought, how often do you avoid or delay getting started? All the time. How often do you fidget or squirm with your hands or feet when you have to sit down for a long time? And like I said, I fidget a lot, like with my hands when I'm thinking about stuff, but like if I'm at home, I'm just like bouncing my leg. That's about it. Often, yeah, how often do you feel overly active and compelled to do things like you were driven by a motor? Yeah, often. It's nice because it's like, oh, I want to actually, no, I forgot about this. So like a day or two ago, I legitimately sat there and I was like, I want to know how to make a steam engine, and I want to know how to make an inverter, and I want to know how to make X, Y, and Z. So I spent like an hour watching videos and taking notes, legitimately in my notebook, taking notes like how to do like a 3-phase alternating current generator. Like, you know, reminding myself that electricity is legitimately just like manipulated magnetism. And I'm like, well, hold on, how many kilowatt hours can I create with this engine? Okay, what if I run them in parallels? What if I put them in series? Oh, well, then technically speaking, I can run my computer for X amount of kilowatt hours. And it's like, oh, anyway, yeah, I was actively compelled to do that. I do the same. I sat there and I'm like, you know what? I want to, like, and the way it came about was just an intrusive thought. I'm like, I don't remember how to make a generator. And I was like, oh shit. And I was like, I know about 3-phase alternating current and so on and so forth, but like, I forgot like what you need to do. And obviously you need to like put coils of copper around, and then you need to take a magnet and spin it. But anyway, you know, and then, you know, put it into an inverter, and then anyway, blah, blah. But, I didn't remember how to do it exactly. So I was like, I want to make sure. Lord Byron, just stop that. But, yeah, sorry, my cat, Lord Byron, first of his name, beautiful of meowers. He is being a little sussy guy, but it's okay. I love him. How often do you make careless mistakes when you have to work on a boring or difficult project? Oh, all the time. Cat, yeah. He's the type of cat that like he'll make noise in the background and annoy you, but like if I pick him up and brought him to the mic, he would just kind of sit there, go limp. He wouldn't make a noise. So instead of getting our Lord Byron meow, he will just make noise in the background, and he's just staring. He's just like, yeah, what are you gonna do about it? But careless mistakes when you have to work on a boring or difficult project, all the time. If you have to force me to care about something, I'm not gonna care about it. I'll just force myself. Difficulty keeping your attention when you're doing boring, repetitive work? Not really. I don't know why. It's like one of the things where it's like, you know, it should be very often, but nope, I don't. How often do you have difficulty on what people say to you, even when they speak to you directly? Sometimes, only if they speak really quietly or like very slow. Misplacing? I don't misplace a thing. How often are you distracted by activity or noise around you? Lord Byron has been making noise the entire stream, and every time he does, I'm like, oh god, Lord Byron, please stop. Please meow so that we can give you guys something, instead of just of him like knocking stuff over. How often do you leave your seat in meetings or other situations in which you are expected to remain seated? Never. I want to. I want to get up and I want to leave, like for example, meetings and stuff. I'm like, can we just make this an email? You know, the old reliable. Byron. Hold on, I'm gonna grab him, see if I can get him up to the camera. Or not the camera, but the mic. Oh, every time. Oh, he's such a meanie. He whenever I'm like, oh, I want to pick him up and bring him up to the microphone, he hides underneath any furniture he can grab. Whenever I get the opportunity, I will nab him. By the end of stream, I will grab him. I can't promise him to meow, but I will say that I will try. I will arrest him and I will put him in air prison and I will force him to meow into the microphone. But right now he's like, oh no, I made noise. I'm scared. And it's like, you don't have to be scared, but it's like, come on. How often do I feel restless or fidgety? Sometimes, not a lot. His name is Lord Byron. The cat's name is Lord Byron because he is a lordly gentleman. And ironically, I didn't name him, the vet did, because I was like, oh god, what's his name? Oh god. They're like, oh, Lord Byron. I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. And then I couldn't think of anything better, so it's just stuck. And now he's leader of this stream. He is king. I just obey his rules. Perfect. Speaking of Lord Byron being perfect, I'm less than perfect in this regard. Like, I mean, I do feel restless and fidgety, but like, it's not bad. Like, I can shake it off, like legitimately shake it off. Like, just like, kind of ignore it. But how often do I feel restless? I mean, the only times I feel restless is when I need to go to sleep. That's all. Oh, sorry, that startled me. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. It still startles me every time. I'll get better though, I promise. Or maybe I'll turn the volume up so that I can't. But like I said, the only time I feel, oh no, don't worry about it. You don't need to apologize. It's a good jump scare. It's like, oh, a good reason to be, you know, just like, oh. But restless and fidget. The only times I feel restless is when I'm about to go to sleep. Other than that, no, not really. I'm kind of fine. How often do you have difficulty unwinding and relaxing when you have time to yourself? So I'm weird on this. So I'll explain myself and then I'll answer. But like whenever, like if it's the work week, right? I probably need about 3 hours to kind of jump out of work mode into relax mode. But normally, like if, oh no, Twitch alerts is now broken. It is what it is. It's okay. Oh no. Oh, great. More things to fix that I need to do, but that's okay. How often do you have difficulty unwinding and relaxing? Like I said, like 3 hours after like I clock out, quote unquote, you know, because then you need to make dinner, you need to do laundry if you need to do all these things. And then after that, you know, even if you don't have to do those things and you just like that time needs to happen in order for me to relax. And then I only have like an hour or two of free time. And then like, this is what sucks. I'm like, I could load up, you know, a game and play for an hour or two and I would probably have a lot of fun, but like, I'm like, well, I only have 2 hours. So I tend to either spend it like watching YouTube or like not playing games or anything. But the good thing is that because I stream now, it forces me to either do like these types of streams where like I'm doing something or play a game. So instead of like being in that mental like headspace of like, oh, I have 2 hours, but I can't do anything with it. Like 2 hours of stream is a lot, right? And it's just my perspective shift, which is one of the reasons why like I stream every day is because like this is technically my way to unwind and relax and have fun. Because the quickest way to disconnect me from one reality and go into another is to like jump me into it, right? To like push me into it. And that's what stream does, which is one of the reasons I love doing it so much, because it allows me to unwind and it gives me energy, ironically, and it allows me to relax and have fun all at the same time. But how often? Basically every day on the work week, and then on the weekend, like, I mean, you know, granted, obviously it's free time, but like in terms of actually being unwound and relaxed, like even like when I have that time and I use it, whether I'm watching anime or playing games or something like that, you know, there's only like a few hours of, you know, Saturday and a Sunday where I feel like, oh yeah, I get to relax. You know, I'm always like, oh, I need to go do this, I need to go do that. Like just an endless list of things. And I've been training myself over the years to like kind of get out of that mindset because it's very cancerous. It'll keep growing on you until it kills you, literally. But like the only ways that I've really found to kind of cheat that and get away from it is like kind of do other things that forces me to unwind and forces me to relax. And streaming is that avenue. Ironically, you'll notice that like throughout this entire like exam, all of the answers that I'm giving you, like I have some sort of system in order to counteract it. So basically every single thing that I'm doing, you know, even though I feel it, like I have a system for getting over it and like kind of like adapting to it. Because that is one of my best qualities, is like being able to be adaptable and change and meld myself to the situation. Even if it's something that like I've never seen before, I can still, if you throw me in there, I'll figure it out. So that's what I did with streaming. I just threw myself in there and I figured it out. Have I figured it out well? I don't know, but you know, we'll see. I think, yeah. I'm lagging on VTube Studio. Why? I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know either. But how often do I find myself talking too much when I'm in social situations? So, I mean, I guess Twitch would count. But like as a streamer, like you feel obligated to talk. And like dead air, like in radio, is like considered bad or anything. Thank you. But like in like regular day-to-day when I'm talking to people, this only happens when I'm excited. Like whenever I'm talking to someone and it's like I'm very excited to talk to them and we're talking about an exciting topic, I'll find myself talking too much. But whenever like it's a normal conversation or something, like if it's not something that is an interest per se of mine or anything of the sort, what will happen is, you know, I'll have a regular conversation. I'll be fine. But do I have the desire to like finish sentences or something like that? Yeah, absolutely. And one of the other reasons why, like, I find myself talking too much is because like I said, I just like talking. And I've been, I don't know if this is sad, but it is true. Like, most of my life, I've kind of just been by myself in a lot of ways. So whenever I get the opportunity to talk to people, I really enjoy it, whether it's to a small or large capacity. So I feel like, you know, most people probably get to talk a lot to a lot of people throughout the day and so on. But me, I don't really, well, not really anymore, but like, you know, back then, like, you know, because I didn't really get like a lot of human interaction in terms of like conversations and stuff, and I didn't really have a lot of friends. I've been a loner basically. Like, yeah, I'll talk too much because I'm just like excited to, oh my God, we get to talk about something. And it's like, oh, you want to talk about something I have an interest in? Even better. But how often do I find myself? Only sometimes, and that's whenever there's like a very particular interest that shows up. But besides that, no, I'm fine. I feel called out. When you're in a conversation, how often do you find yourself finishing the sentences of the people you are talking to before they can finish them themselves? Often. Well, actually, it doesn't happen a lot, but like I want to do. It is something that is like in my brain at all times. And the main reason I think I do it is because like I've already predicted what they're going to say based upon what they've said already. And 99% of the time I'm right on it. So I'm just like, oh, we can finish it. And then I can get my next point out. But it kind of just like pulls back to the previous thing where it's like, well, the more we, you know, the faster the conversation goes, the more we get to talk about. It's a weird thing. But do I do it much anymore? Not really. I try to stop myself. It does happen like in like if I'm talking to friends or something. But like if it's like 99% of the other situations, no, I don't do it. But do I have to bite my tongue because I want to finish the sentences? Yeah. But the only time it acts up is just like, you know, when I find myself talking too much. It's like when I'm excited, you know, just like, oh yeah, I want to, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know the reason for it. I think that's the reason for it, but I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But how often do I have difficulty waiting my turn in situations when turn taking is required? I used to struggle with this a lot, but it wasn't really like a struggle where it's like, oh my God, like I was impulsively like trying to blah, blah, blah. But it was just like, my patience would be very clearly like diminishing as I was like holding myself back from like wanting to do this. I don't know. I grew out of it. It was kind of bad when I was a kid, but like as a teenager and where I am now, like, it's not bad, right? I love to listen to people talk about stuff they're excited about. Yeah, I love talking about stuff I'm excited about, so that works perfectly. You know, I like listening to like, you know, things that I really like about occasionally, but generally speaking, you know, I like having typically like either a conversation with someone that's like equally reciprocal with like how we're talking, or like, you know, I'm perfectly fine talking to someone till they're, you know, just dead silent. And as long as they'll let me talk, I'll talk. That's why I like streaming. I'm just like, hey, if you'll let me talk, cool. If you don't want to hear me talk, easy. Hit the X button. GG. No problem. But, yeah, I difficulty? Not really. Typically the only time that I have this show up as a problem is that like when it's like an awkward or a sad, or not sad, but like an awkward or a, like weird situation or something like that, where I'm like, you know, I'll kind of take my turn to kind of change things or like kind of manipulate like the environment or atmosphere. But like if we're talking about like Monopoly, like I'm sitting down playing Monopoly, do I have problems? No, rarely. The only time I suffer with this legitimately is when things are going too slowly. Like if I'm playing Monopoly and it's taking like 10 minutes for us to go through one like entire like sequence of turns, I'm like, ugh, I'm gonna need more alcohol. Like, oh God, I can't take it anymore. But besides that, no, it's fine. How often do you interrupt someone when they're busy? Rarely. I've never had an issue with this, mainly because like if I have to interrupt you when you're busy, you know that I need to interrupt you. It's not because I want to, it's not, in fact, I'm very clearly aware that I'm interrupting you while you're busy and I don't want to do it. So I've had to put an extra effort to force myself to do it. But like if I'm interrupting you and you're busy, it has to, like, I have to. Like if it can wait, I will. Trust me. If you know me, like based upon this dumb exam that we've just taken, like legitimately, it is in my interest to delay everything to the last possible moment. But if I'm interrupting you while you're busy, unfortunately, that's the last possible moment. Or if it's like something they need to know or something that like has to happen. But interrupting others when they're busy, like if I don't know what you're doing, then obviously like I don't know if you're busy. But like let's say I know that you're going to a lunch with like a friend or something, or you're going to dinner with like your significant other or whatever. Like I won't bother you. In fact, I will schedule shit around that so that I don't fuck with your time, because I am a big proponent and I'm a big person for respecting people's personal time, right? Whether at work or whatever. Like I am not entitled to anyone's time. It is up to the person to decide whether or not they want to give me their time. But in the event that I need to ask for someone's time, especially when they're busy, the only time I will do that is if I absolutely have to do it. Like, I hate that. I absolutely hate that. Like, because, like, nothing sucks more than, like, getting... Like, I get this a lot. Like, I get emails and stuff, like, on the weekends. Like, that could have easily just have been, like, scheduled for Monday morning. Easily. But they just send it because they're... I don't know. I guess they're just like, fuck it, like, whatever. And I'm like, all right, cool. But, like, I also have this weird thing where it's like, if I get it, I'm like, okay. I find the deadline for it. I'm like, okay, cool. Can I put it off? Cool, I will. But, yeah, interrupting others, no, I hate that. Because, like, do unto others as you would have to yourself, right? Like that old adage. Like, if I'm really busy with something and someone interrupts me, and, like, let's say, for example, it's something really important, I will forget that you interrupted me while I'm busy, because I will be thankful and appreciative that you took the time and effort to go out of your way to help me. Or, for example, like, you know, blah, 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 you know, whenever I'm busy. But... like if I'm really busy, or if you're really busy and someone comes up to us and it's like, hey, what do you think about that baseball game? It's like, I don't give a fuck. Do you see what's going on here? Like, help! Pick up a keyboard, help me out with this shit, you know? But besides that, it's like, no, yeah, but like legitimately, I have done and will do. I'm just like, look, I will schedule things to make sure that I don't fuck with other people's time. Because I know they won't do it for me 99% of the time, but like, maybe they will. And maybe I won't, like, and maybe they'll do it and I won't even be aware of it. Just like how I'm doing it for others and they're not aware of it. So I kind of just like pretend, like, this is my headcanon. This is like my copium. It's like, whenever I do that, like, I'm like, okay, there's probably been a lot of situations that I'm not even aware of where someone did the same thing and I didn't notice. So I'm just going to keep paying it forward. That's my copium. Well, let's see here. I think I may have ADHD. Let's see. Now, by the way, just want to make another disclaimer here. This is not a substitute for an official diagnosis or any of that whatsoever. This is just an online exam that we're taking for fun, so on and so forth. So for the love of God, don't assume that this is truth. Same thing with like other exams that you may find online. They are not a substitute for a legitimate, doctorly, performance for fun. Exactly. Optional questions. Ooh. For myself. I am 99 years old. I am female. What the hell? Why do they want your household income? What? Why do they want this? What the hell? Okay, this is an exam for ADHD, by the way. Just want to make that clear. Like, they want your age, your gender, they want your race or ethnicity, your household income, whether you live in the United States or somewhere else, your fucking zip code, which population describes you. Are you a veteran, a caregiver, part of the community, a student, a survivor, expecting parent? What the hell? Have you ever received treatment? What is this? I mean, obviously it's optional, but like, what are these questions? Do you have health insurance? What the is, are we gonna get solicited? Is that what's going on here? Let's see. What would the income to? Exactly. It's like, I think it would probably like, because it's asking about insurance, maybe it would like choose what insurance premium to solicit to you. That's my guess. Guys. It's likely I have ADHD. I think it's likely. I will say very likely indeed. But the thing is that's nice is that like, I never seeked after and never will seek after like an official diagnosis because it wouldn't change anything, right? It wouldn't help me. But the thing that's cool is that like, even if I do, like, let's assume, right, I have ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, I think is the full name. But like let's assume like 100% I do, right? It wouldn't change anything because like I've already come up with systems and resources to like solve and fix the way I do things. Like a lot of the problems that like I used to struggle with assumedly ADHD or whatever my mental things were, I just came up with systems to get around them. I didn't solve I didn't solve the issue, I got around it. So, because you're never like, you can't fix that, right? Because it's who you are. It's your brain chemistry, right? So instead of like trying to change it or anything like that, why not just embrace it? And that's how I did it. I don't know if it's right, but it seems to be working pretty good. I live. I make I don't die, But yeah, I mean, I've always been a very fervent believer in, instead of attempting to change who you are, embracing it. If like, for example, it's like a good thing, for example, like if it's a bad thing, like obviously, you should work on it, right? But like, let's say like, it's just who you are. Yeah, as long as it works for you. Exactly. Yeah. If it works for you, why why change something if like instead it would be much easier to just like embrace it and work with the system, right? Like once you get your systems in place, once you figure out like how your brain works and how you react to things, then you can kind of like hack yourself and kind of change like, oh, like I don't want to do this thing. Well, okay, let me tell everyone that I'm gonna have it done a day before so that I force myself to do it, right? Oh God, we got stinky ads. But you know what? I was actually planning on ending the stream here anyway. I do stream basically, well, actually, no, not basically. I stream every day at the exact same time. I tried to do a lot of variety content, but I also have scheduled stuff like Minecraft Monday, Souls Saturday and Sunday, and a few other things. And I did a karaoke stream yesterday, so I'm a little bit varied, as they say. But I'm going to go ahead and, oh, I can't snooze the thing. Uh-oh. But I'm going to go ahead and head out. So I just want to let you know that I stream every day at the exact same time, and I have a schedule. And I also have a Discord if you're interested. If you scroll down, you should be able to see everything. So if you want to see, my YouTube, my Twitch, or anything like that, it's there for you. But yeah, I will be back tomorrow, probably doing more shenanigans and having fun. But thanks for hanging out and having fun with me. But here, let me also, let me get the exam for you. In case you're interested. This is the one I took. I hope it doesn't save the test results, but... But yeah, we're gonna, oh no, ads, you stinky. No, bad ads. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and close out the stream before you get hit with them. So thank you very much. Hopefully see you next time. And as always, Razanara, take care. And I will see you tomorrow for shenanigans. Take care, guys.